What if some of humanity's most important survival skills began by watching animals? Long before humans had schools, scientific instruments, written instructions, or modern technology, the natural world was already demonstrating how to move, hunt, find food, cross water, and survive danger. A fish moved effortlessly through water. A predator stalked without being seen. Birds crossed enormous landscapes without maps. Animals left invisible clues behind them wherever they traveled. Ancient humans could not explain these behaviors scientifically, but they could watch. And that raises a fascinating question. How much of human survival was discovered by studying the creatures that already knew how to survive? Imagine a small group of early humans standing beside a river. Across the water, fish disappear beneath the surface. On the opposite bank, a predator moves silently through the grass. Above them, birds suddenly change direction and vanish toward a distant landscape. To us, these are ordinary scenes. To a prehistoric human, they could be information. The animals were revealing where danger was hiding, where food might be found, how movement worked, and perhaps even how the landscape itself was changing. But there is an important distinction. We cannot simply say that ancient humans copied animals. Archaeology cannot show us the exact moment when a human watched an animal and thought, "I should do that." What the evidence can show is something more interesting. Humans evolved alongside animals, depended on them, watched them, tracked them, hunted them, feared them, and eventually began representing them in art and culture. The natural world was not just their environment. It was their information system. Consider water. Fish do not need to be taught how to move through it. Humans do. Swimming almost certainly existed long before written history. Although archaeology cannot identify the exact moment humans first learned to swim, what we can see is that early humans repeatedly exploited aquatic environments. At a site near Lake Turkana in Kenya, dating to around 1.95 million years ago, researchers found stone tools alongside animal remains that included aquatic resources. This does not prove that someone watched a fish and invented swimming, but it tells us something important. Water was not simply an obstacle. It was a source of food. And once water became part of the human landscape, the ability to enter it, cross it, and exploit what lived inside it became extremely valuable. Some archaeological evidence has also been interpreted as suggesting repeated exposure to cold water among ancient human populations, although those interpretations remain debated. So perhaps the fish were not our swimming instructors. But aquatic animals demonstrated a world humans could enter only by learning new skills. And that pattern appears again on land. Imagine walking across a landscape with no roads, no signs, no GPS, no trail markers. Then you notice a footprint. One animal passed this way. Perhaps another followed. The direction of the tracks tells you where they went. Their size tells you something about the animal. The condition of the track may tell you how recently it passed. For prehistoric hunters, tracks could become a language. Research on prehistoric hunter-gatherer rock art in Namibia has shown just how sophisticated track knowledge could be. Indigenous tracking experts were able to identify remarkable amounts of information from animal tracks represented in ancient engravings, including the animal involved in characteristics such as age and sex. That gives us a glimpse into the enormous amount of information contained in something most modern people would simply walk past. A footprint was not just a footprint. It could be a message. And humans became exceptionally good at reading those messages. Generation after generation, they learned to extract information from animal behavior. Where did the animal go? What was it following? Was it moving toward water? Was it frightened? Was it traveling alone? The animals were leaving behind evidence of their lives. Humans learned to read it. But humans were not only watching prey. They were watching predators. A lion does not chase every animal it sees. A wolf does not attack randomly. Predators choose moments. They approach carefully. They exploit terrain. They conserve energy. And they react to the behavior of their prey. Ancient humans lived in ecosystems filled with predators, and hunting required an equally sophisticated understanding of animal behavior. Archaeological research describes Stone Age hunting as a highly skill-intensive activity requiring extensive knowledge, complex strategies, and technologies. Humans eventually developed something remarkable. Instead of relying entirely on speed, claws, teeth, or strength, they combined observation with cooperation, planning, weapons, and environmental knowledge. That was a major advantage. A human did not have to become stronger than a predator. Humans could become better at understanding the rules of the hunt. Predators demonstrated the value of patience and stealth. Prey demonstrated escape behavior. Tracks revealed movement. Terrain created opportunities. And human intelligence connected all of these pieces. The lesson was no longer simply, watch the animal. It became, understand the animal. That distinction may have helped transform humans from vulnerable primates into extraordinarily effective hunters. But perhaps the strangest lesson from animals is one humans did not consciously learn at all. Some of the behaviors we associate with early humans were already part of our evolutionary inheritance. Our ancestors lived in trees. They climbed, they moved along branches, and they increasingly walked on two legs. The fossil record shows that early human species combined tree climbing with upright walking for millions of years. Australopithecus anamensis, which lived roughly between 4.2 and 3.8 million years ago, had anatomical features associated with regular bipedal walking, while other characteristics suggest it also retained strong climbing abilities. And eventually, we turned observation into technology, culture, science, and civilization. Perhaps that is the most important thing ancient humans learned from animals. Not how to become a fish, not how to become a bird, not how to become a predator, but how to watch the world carefully enough to learn from it. And in that sense, long before humanity began studying nature scientifically, nature was already teaching us how to survive.